Welcome to Code with Kurt. The channel brings you the latest Google Sheets and Google Apps Script videos. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I built a stock analyzer. In this analyzer, what I'm doing is measuring trends of stocks. So I'm looking for stocks that are on the upswing. So with this, I used the Google Finance function that's used in Google Sheets, and I could kind of show you that in my data here. So if you use this statement right here, with the New York Stock Exchange, symbol A, the price is what I'm looking for, and then 30 days back from today's date, and this is what it provides you here. And then on top of that, I'm doing the difference between the days, and then I'm doing the percentages. And then mixing this function with Google Apps Script, I'm figuring out within that 30 days how many days it dropped, how many days it gained, and then how many consecutive days from today has it gained, going back, the total dates I'm measuring from, so 21 at this instance, and then I got the link, and the link will link me straight to the Google Finance site so I can really look at it here as well. So what this gains me to do is I could chunk through a whole bunch of stocks here. So I got 250 right here. I just grabbed the A and B's of the New York Stock Exchange, stuff that's beginning with A and B, and I could run this. If I could start checking them here like this. I could use check all, but for this video I'm just going to keep it short, and I can hit get data. So what it's going to do is it's going to recycle through, figure out the values as it's coming through, and you can look over on this screen. It just keeps pumping them through, analyzing this real quick, and producing just the short outcome of what I'm looking for here. And then from there, I could go through and, say I want to look more on here. Say I want to see, everything that's, gained 15, 16, and 17 days. I can hit that. That crunches me down here. Then I can look at, how many days has it gained in just, consecutive here. I want to look at total days. I got 22 is here, so I can really crunch stuff. Say I want to look at a stock that doesn't drop that much either. So I could clear this and hit 4 and 5, hit the lowest numbers. Now I'm down to just 3 stocks. Now I could go look at each individual one and see if I'm interested, basically. Learn what it is, what it's about, and all that. But this just gives me a quick analyze. I could analyze this real quick, cut down the list, and now I'm to the stocks that I just want to see. And again, this is just measuring trends. I'm not picking any particular stocks here. I'm just going through them all. I can load this whole sheet up with, 1,000, and it will take a while to run through, but, going through each one stock and looking at each one will take a tremendous amount of time. So this saves you a lot of time. One thing to note on this is the Google Apps Script will only let you run a procedure about 5 minutes, so it'll crunch through about 250 stocks. So once that's done, you could click it again and it'll run again. It'll continue on where it's left. So basically, if I check it here, it's just going to do the ones that I check. Basically, I could hit check all, do the whole list, uncheck them all, and it just gives you some basic functionality for setting this up. So I'll give you a step-by-step process of how I put this together. If you're new to this channel, subscribe to catch my latest videos. Let's get started with this video. Here I'm on my new Google spreadsheet. I'm going to give it a name. Google Finance. I'm going to give the sheets their names as well. The first sheet is called Setup, all capital letters, and the second sheet is Data. Now, data sheet is already set up. You don't have to do anything. This is the sheet it's going to use to populate, figure out all the data, and then erase it, basically. So don't have to do anything with this sheet. We're going to go back over to the setup sheet, and I'm going to hit my 3 header values here. Days back, percent gain, percent down. Now these 3 values, and I failed to mention this in the beginning, but this is kind of the setup values for how this thing runs, kind of your measuring values. I could set this will set it to 30 days back. You could change this any days you want. If you want to look 100 days back, 200 days back, that's what it figures. Percent gain, I'm going to put this at 0 and 0. Now, if you want to look trends of stocks, that this controls your column for gains and downs. So if you want to look, say, I'm looking for anything that's above 0 as a gain. But you could change this and say, I want to look at anything that's above 2% as a gain. So a little greater than, but in this example, I'm just going to use 0 here, but you can change it how you want. Say you don't want to see stocks that lost, more than 3%, and you want to analyze that. So you can see all the stocks that how many days they've lost more than 3%. So it's very volatile. It's like going up and down a lot. But this example, I'm just going to keep it at 0. Again, I got my 3 headers here and then my values there. So next, I'm going to start up my header record here. So we go with name, market, symbol, days drop, days gain, consecutive gain days, total dates, my checkbox, and the link right there. So I'm going to kind of space this out a little bit. I'm going to give the name a little more space. That's just the name of our stock, the market it's in, and this works for, the NASDAQ and New York Stock Exchange and other markets as well. As long as Google Finance carries those values, it'll show up in here. And that should be pretty good with spacing here. I'll space out the name a little more here. So like that. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dump in our stocks here. So I'm going to go to my listing of all my stocks. I got these 3 things. The critical 2 columns is the market and the symbol here. So I'm going to dump in, we're going to do 253 stocks. So I'm going to take those. There, I got it. So the market and the symbol is what's used to drive the data. This is just for your knowledge of what this stock is or what the name of it is. So here I'm going to fancy this up a little bit, give it a little background, and bold it like that. And I'm also going to bring this line down to make this like a header type area. So then when I scroll up and down, the bottom is the only thing that moves. Another thing you need to do over here is the checkbox here. I'm going to go ahead and center that here, and then I'm going to put in the checkbox. So for every stock you put in, it needs a checkbox, because that's going to be the trigger of, kind of marking it. So I'm going to go down, add a checkbox to all these. If I can get it to stay. Right there. So I got all of them checked. And next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create my 3 buttons that I'm going to need for this. So I'm going to go up here to insert and drawing. I'm going to click the, alright, now it finally came up. Hit shapes. I'm going to hit this. I'm going to kind of just draw a button here about that size. And this is going to be a double click into there and hit this as get data. And then I'm going to come over here to these 3 dots, bold it, center it, and that's good. I'm going to hit save and close, and then I'm going to drag it up here like that. Kind of make it a little smaller like that. So I'm going to go ahead and create the next 2 buttons. Same process. So there, I have all three of my buttons created, and I am complete with this screen here. So next we're going to move on to our Google App Script. Go to Extensions and App Script here. And next I'm going to give this a name first, and then we'll copy in the code here. Give this a name, call it Google Finance. Rename. Next, I'm going to copy in my code. I will provide the code in a link below the video. So next I'm going to copy it in. So I'm going to hit save, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the code. So my first function here is the start here. And what I'm going to do is I'm grabbing the object of the spreadsheet. I'm setting up my setup sheet here. I'm grabbing my setup sheet with setup name right there. So I'm looking at this setup, this sheet right here. And I'm getting the last row. So I'm trying to find how many stocks symbols I have in there. So it's going to grab the last record that's populated on that sheet. And then from there I'm going to start at row 6, and I'm going to go through each one. And as I'm going through, I'm going to check the checkbox here. So I'm at the column 8 here, going through Y, and I'm going to see if that's true. If it's true, if it's checked, I'm going to start getting the data. So from there, I'm clearing out all the columns that I'm going to be repopulating. So I'm clearing out days drop, days gain, consecutive days gain, and total dates. Clearing that out. Getting the symbol of that line, I'm getting the market of that line, and I'm going to pass it into this get data function. So I'm going to go down to get data function here. So here's my symbol, market, and I'm also passing in row here with the Y there. So I'll find it here. So from there, I'm doing the SS spreadsheet again. My object, I'm grabbing my data sheet and my setup sheet, and I'm grabbing some of these global values that are on top. So the percent gain, percent down, and days back. That's how I'm going to figure out my numbers here. So then I'm going to my data sheet here, and I'm clearing the data out. So I'm clearing out 1,000 rows here. So I'm figuring I'm not going to do more than 1,000 dates back. So if you're going to do more than that, you can clear it out. I haven't tested to go more than that, so that's where I'm at, 1,000. So from there, then I'm clearing out this cell A1. So I'm clearing out what was previously there, the function, and then I'm going to set this function in. So here's my Google Finance function here, and if you want to know more about it, it's over here in their documentation, which I'll link below the video as well in the description. So here it is, this, and I'm really going kind of from this function here is the one I'm doing. So they have an example of using Google as their test thing there. So here I'm passing the market with the symbol, and then I'm setting these are hard values of price, and then doing today, and then I'm passing in the days back, today. After I populate this right here, this is what populates that function of that cell, and then right away that'll populate all the data in there, and then C1 I'm putting a symbol there just so if I have to reference back to the data sheet to look at one stock, I could tell what symbol it was using, just as a quick reference. Then I'm getting the last row of the data sheet, and this is where I'm going to do my figuring of the days gained, days lost, and all that. So here I am going to row 3 of my data sheet. I'm going down to the last row, and I'm going to go through each one, and this is where I'm populating my formula of the days difference between the previous day and the next day. So I'm creating another column right next to it, and then I'm also from there I'm creating another column with the percentage up and down, because that's how I'm going to analyze the percentage. So I'm adding 2 additional columns off from the data to do my figuring. So then I'm resetting my values of gain total, down total, and consecutive days gained, and then these are my iterations going through. So basically I'm getting the current value, and I'm measuring the percent I'm cutting through each data row right here, and then if it's greater, I'm chalking it up, and if the current value is less than percent down -1, so basically I'm converting this into a positive number to measure my current value of the percent down. So when I'm setting this up, I have this set at 2. So if you want to go like how much is measured down, if I hit like greater than 3, I'm not putting a negative number here. It's measured just on positive percentages, even though I'm going negative down. I'm doing that conversion here. So then it's going to populate percent down total there. So percent total up, percent total down. And then my last thing is consecutive days. So this is just if it's greater than 0, going backwards. So I'm starting with my last row, working my way back up the list, doing a negative iteration. So I'm seeing how many consecutive days it's been positive, basically. Or above this is just above 0. So I don't have any defaulting values for this. So that keeps track of that, and then from there I'm populating these 3 things for the percent gain, down, and consecutive days, and then I'm keeping just a total list of the dates I'm analyzing with this last one here. So that's that, and then the next thing I'm doing is I'm setting in my link right here. So I go down to my set link function here. Again, doing my spreadsheet object, grabbing my setup sheet, and then this is where I'm setting in the link of this doing. So doing a rich value here, which is the next rich text value right here. This is all standard Google Apps scripting here. And then I'm setting the text of the symbol right here. And then for the quote, I'm using this. And then I'm passing in the symbol with a colon and then mark it here. So it's kind of backwards. So this link takes it in this direction, and then the actual function goes the opposite way. So it's kind of weird how they did it that way. I don't know why they didn't make it the same, but that's how they did it. So then it's build, and then from there you're kind of setting the rich value into that column number 9 right there. So it's doing that. And then the last thing is it's setting the checkbox to false. Basically saying we're done. We did that and we're done with that. So that's all put together. Next we're going to have to tag our functions to our buttons. So here we're just going to copy start, just the word. We're going to go up here. I'm going to right click on the button, click these 3 dots and assign script. And I'm going to copy that in there and hit OK. So then we're going to go over to check all, and I could go through how this is. Again, the spreadsheet object, setting up the spreadsheet of setup, or the sheet of setup, getting the last row, and then iterating through all the rows here on column 8, which is our checkbox, and then marking them all true, setting the value true. Unchecked all does the opposite, so it just sets all the values to false. So that's how those 2 functions work. So I'm going to copy check all here. I go up here, right click, click the 3 buttons, assign script, copy it in, hit OK, and then come over to unchecked, check all, copy this again, go up here, right click, hit the 3 buttons, assign script, and there we go. So we got everything there. I think everything is ready to go. I have it saved over here. Next we're going to do is we're going to get our get data, so let's check that. There we go. We're going to do this. We're going to select our account. We're going to hit advanced. We're going to go to what says untitled project, but we already have it titled. And we're allowed to edit, create, delete Google Sheets. We're going to allow that. And we have that complete. Next we're going to do our check all, just to kind of check to make sure that's working. So there it checks all, and then we'll check our uncheck button, make sure that's working. Okay, now we're going to check one. Let's do the first several here, see if this is all working. So we're going to get data. So there's populating. It's crunching the numbers over here. A little bit of a hang up. There it goes. So there we go. We got those complete. Now we got our links here, so we can, we can go through this. This is Alcoa. We can see that, and everything seems to be working. And if you want to do like a single one, you could check that. It'll just redo that. But then you can also come over here and see the data as well. So this says 3 consecutive days of gain. So these are the last 3 days. So that's where all that comes from. Just counting the negatives and the positives and stuff like that. So that concludes this video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it below the video. Until next time.